She left me at the bus station because her boyfriend didn't want my face in their vacation photos. My name is Leah, and I was 10 the day my mother decided I didn't match her new life. It was supposed to be our spring break. Just me and her. A girls' trip, she called it. Nashville. Country music museums. A hotel with a pool. I packed my sketch pad, my favorite hoodie, and the cheap earbuds she got me for Christmas. I even curled my hair the way she liked it, neat, out of my face, like a good girl. We got to the bus station early. She said it was just the two of us. Said it like a promise. Then Dean arrived. He came in wearing sunglasses indoors, holding a coffee like it made him important. And with him came the shadows, his two kids, Haley and Drew, both blonde, both already dressed like vacation Instagram posts. I was in a faded hoodie with frayed cuffs. No one told me we weren't traveling alone. Dean looked at me once. Just once. She's older than I thought, he said. My mom didn't meet his eyes. She'll behave. Haley scrunched her nose. Drew made a face. And that was it. I was already too much. At the counter, she bought 4 tickets. I waited. My name didn't come up. She didn't look at me when she slipped her phone into her bag and said, "I'll be back in a second. Just sit here, okay?" I sat. Like an idiot, I sat. I watched them walk toward the boarding gate, thinking maybe she was just checking something. Maybe they'd come back with snacks. Maybe Dean was just being weird. Maybe? 20 minutes passed. The gate closed. The bus pulled away. And I was still there. I called her. She picked up. "Mom? Where are you?" She paused. Laughter in the background. Dean's voice, low and joking. "Leah," she said flatly, "don't start." "Start what?" The bus left. I'm still here. More silence. Then. "You're not coming. Dean thinks it's best if we make this trip as a family." I couldn't breathe. "But I am family. Don't be dramatic." I needed a break. A break. From me. She hung up. I sat on that cold plastic bench with a vending machine buzzing beside me and a dead phone. I sat until the janitor changed shifts and a woman from the front desk brought me water. I sat until someone called child services, until they found my father's number in a database he'd been updating every year since she left with me. "Where are you exactly?" he asked. And 3 hours later, my real family arrived by jet. She told the judge I was emotionally unstable 10 days after leaving me with a vending machine and a dead phone. The courtroom was colder than the station. Quiet in a different way. No shouting announcements, no clicking heels. Just the scrape of a pen across paper and my name echoing through the microphone. I was told I didn't have to speak. That the evidence spoke for itself. That no child should have to explain why they don't want to go home. But I spoke anyway. Because sometimes silence hurts more than words. She was sitting 3 rows away in her crisp blazer and soft curls, looking like the kind of mother they write in custody reports. Her lawyer called me troubled. Said I had a history of emotional reactivity. Said I was struggling with my identity. That I'd always been fragile. Funny. No one ever called me fragile when I was packing my own lunches in 2nd grade or hiding in closets from Calvin's yelling. They said the bus station was a miscommunication. That she thought I'd boarded. That I'd wandered off. But I had the voicemail. My dad played it for the court. "Don't be pathetic, Leah. You're 10. Figure it out." That's what she said. And you could hear Dean laughing in the background like it was all just a joke. When they asked me what I remembered, I told them the truth. I remember sitting next to a soda machine that buzzed louder than anyone ever spoke to me in that house. I remember being told I was too much. Too loud. Too needy. I remembered the way she looked at Dean and his kids like they were real and I was extra. My mom didn't cry. Not once. Just looked bored. But my dad? He looked at me like I was the only person in the world. Like I wasn't broken or burdensome or too much. Just his kid. Just me. The judge ruled in under an hour. Full custody. No unsupervised visits. No contact without consent. Outside the courthouse, my dad crouched in front of me and said, "You're not going back." Not ever. I nodded, but I didn't believe it yet. It took weeks. Therapy. Nights waking up thinking I was still at the station. Flinching when someone said my name too loud. But eventually something shifted. I painted my new room turquoise. I learned how to make grilled cheese without burning it. Lena taught me how to braid my hair without pulling too tight. And one morning I woke up, looked out the window, and realized I hadn't thought about her in 3 days. That was the day I knew I was healing. The first time I saw my mother again, she was wearing sunglasses inside a court-mandated visitation center. I thought I'd feel something when I saw her. Anger, maybe. Panic. Maybe even a tiny, desperate sliver of love. But all I felt was distance. Cold, wide, impossible distance. She walked in late, like always, like time never applied to her. Her heels clacked against the tile and her perfume hit the air like a warning. The sunglasses stayed on until she sat down across from me. Leah, she breathed as if we were in a movie. As if the last time she said my name wasn't through gritted teeth with a hangover behind it. I didn't say anything. Just folded my arms across my chest. The caseworker gave her the ground rules. No physical contact. No private conversations. 45 minutes supervised. She smiled politely and nodded like a schoolgirl. I could tell she rehearsed this. How have you been? She asked, her voice syrupy sweet. Fine, I said flatly. She waited. She always hated silence. You look good. Taller. She tried to smile. You've grown. I shrugged. Happens. She looked around the room like it might give her a better version of me. I've been doing the parenting classes. Weekly therapy. I've made progress. I looked her straight in the eye. I didn't come here to hear your report card. Her face twitched. I was sick, Leah. I wasn't myself. You were very much yourself. That was the problem. Her smile slipped. She tried again. I loved you. I still do. I didn't know how to do both. Dean's kids, my job, the pressure. It all got. You left me, I said quietly. You bought everyone else tickets and left me on a bench. You don't get to rewrite that. She blinked fast. I want a relationship, she whispered. We can fix this. I leaned forward, elbows on the table. You don't fix abandonment with brunch. You don't fix childhood with coffee dates. The caseworker cleared her throat. 5 minutes left. My mom reached into her purse. I brought pictures. Just in case. She handed me a small envelope. Inside were photos of Dean's kids. Haley in a prom dress. Drew at a robotics fair. My mom smiling beside them. I looked at the envelope. Then at her. You brought me pictures of the kids you chose over me? I thought maybe you'd want to see what they've been up to. My hands shook, but I didn't cry. I hope they know better than to get on a bus with you. The timer buzzed. Visit over. She stood, adjusting her glasses like armor. Next time will be better, she said. There won't be a next time, I replied. Because sometimes healing isn't about forgiveness. Sometimes it's about choosing not to get hurt again. I thought healing meant peace, but instead it meant finally facing the people who watched her abandon me and said nothing. It started with an email. A generic subject line, family check-in. Lena opened it while I was finishing homework at the kitchen table. I saw her expression shift, like she was trying to keep her voice steady before she even said a word. It's from Haley, she said. Dean's daughter. I froze. We hadn't said their names in months. Like if we didn't name them, they couldn't crawl back into the room. She wants to meet, Lena said. She says she owes you an apology. I stared at the cursor blinking on my essay draft. Compare and contrast the protagonist's arc. I knew mine by heart. From forgotten to found. But what did she want? Closure? Forgiveness? A pat on the back for being less cruel than her father? My dad let me decide. So I said yes. We met at a coffee shop downtown. Not the one near school. A neutral place. Haley walked in wearing a college hoodie and nervous eyes. She looked older. Tired. Like someone who had just started realizing how much she didn't know. Leah, she said, sitting across from me, thank you for coming. I nodded. That was all I could give. I didn't know, she said. I mean, I knew, but I didn't understand. I thought you were being dramatic. That you wanted to ruin things. I stared at her. You saw her walk away. She nodded. And I stayed quiet. I told myself it wasn't my business. She took out her phone and showed me a photo. My mother, arms around Haley and Drew. All smiles. A frame of perfection that had cost me everything. She told everyone you threw a tantrum and ran off. That she looked everywhere. I didn't look at the screen. I believed her, Haley whispered. And I let her convince me you were the reason she was so tired all the time. For a moment, I hated her. Then I hated myself for still caring what she thought. What changed? I asked. My therapist said the way I talk about you sounds like guilt, she said. She asked what I'd actually seen. And I realized. I saw everything. And I let it happen. I sipped my tea. It had gone cold. You were a kid too, I said. But you had power. You were the chosen ones. And you let me drown. Tears welled in her eyes. I'm sorry. I can't fix it. I just wanted you to know I see it now. That was the thing. No one could fix it. Not with words. Not with coffee. Not with an email. But her showing up? That mattered. Not because it healed me. Because it reminded me the truth doesn't die when it's ignored. It waits. And sometimes it finds its voice in the mouths of those who once stayed silent. He said forgiveness would set me free, but I wasn't the one who lied for years and called it love. It was my therapist who first brought it up. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, she said, her voice calm, but it could help you let go. I didn't answer. Just kept tracing the edge of the tissue box on the table like it might unlock something. Letting go of what? I asked eventually. The weight. The anger. The part of you still waiting for an apology you might never get. I looked out the window. It was raining, the kind of steady, gray rain that doesn't demand attention. Just soaks through everything slowly. I didn't want to forgive her. Or Dean. Or Haley, even with her shaking hands and sad eyes. Because somewhere deep down I thought holding on to the pain meant keeping the truth alive. Like if I let it go, I'd be admitting it didn't matter. But it did. Every skipped birthday. Every silent ride home from school. Every time she told me to lower my voice or stay in my room or stop being such a burden. It mattered. Still, I tried. I wrote letters. Not to send, just to say things I'd never get to say out loud. You called it a vacation. I called it exile. You said I was too emotional. I was 10. I missed you. You said you needed space. I needed a mom. I burned them one by one in the fireplace while my dad read on the couch, pretending not to watch. Later, I asked him if he'd ever forgiven her. He looked at me, quiet for a long moment. I forgave myself first, he said. For not fighting harder. For not finding you sooner. And her. He took a breath. I don't know if it's forgiveness or just finally stopping the bleeding. That night, I dreamed I was back at the bus station. But this time, I stood up. I walked away. Not toward a phone or a stranger, but toward a version of myself that wasn't waiting to be chosen. I woke up crying. But lighter. Like maybe forgiveness wasn't a gift you gave them. Maybe it was the last door you unlocked for yourself. People asked if I missed her, but what I missed was the version of me who still believed she loved me. It happened at school, of all places. During a unit on family heritage. We were told to bring in photos, stories, names, something that spoke to our history. Something that made us. I sat in the back row and stared at my blank worksheet. Mother's maiden name, blank. Place of birth, blank. Family traditions, blank. I watched the others pass around old Polaroids, faded recipes, baby photos with cake-smeared faces. I kept mine inside my bag, a single printout of me at age 6, wearing a red scarf and a fake smile, standing between Dean's kids while my mom cropped herself perfectly into the corner. At home that night, I cried into my pillow. Not loud. Just steady. Like a leak I'd ignored until it soaked through everything. I didn't miss her. I missed believing that someone out there had wanted me truly, fully. Not out of guilt. Not for the optics. But because they couldn't imagine a world without me in it. I missed the version of myself who used to check the door every night, hoping she'd walk in and say she was sorry. I missed the kid who still made excuses for her. Lena found me in my room. She didn't ask what was wrong. She just lay beside me and said, "You don't have to make space for people who made you feel small." I whispered, "I don't even know who I am without her absence." Lena looked at me for a long time. Then she said, "Then maybe it's time you start finding out." So I did. I filled out the worksheet my way. Mother's name, not listed. Father's name, the one who came back. Family traditions, dancing barefoot in the kitchen. Sunday pancakes with too much syrup. Leaving porch lights on just in case. That night, I pinned it on the fridge. A map of what I'd survived. A blueprint of who I was building. But it wasn't over. Healing isn't a single moment. It's every decision that comes after. It's saying no to the apology that arrives too late. It's choosing joy on days when memory tries to rewrite itself. It's learning to laugh again, not just because you survived, but because you deserve to live without fear. A week later, I stayed after school to help my art teacher sort supplies. She found one of my old drawings stuffed behind the cabinet, a sketch of a bus station bench, done in pencil and silence. "You should submit this to the district showcase," she said, holding it up. "It's raw. Real. Strong." I almost said no. But then I remembered Lena's words. "Maybe it's time you start finding out." So I said yes. And when they hung it in the school hallway 2 weeks later, I stood in front of it, not as someone abandoned, but as someone who told the story anyway. I stopped checking the mailbox until the envelope came with her handwriting and my name spelled perfectly. I almost didn't open it. It was a cream-colored envelope with the kind of cursive you only use when you want something. My name was spelled right. First and last. That alone made my throat close up. I took it to my room, sat on the edge of the bed, and held it for a while. Like it might disappear if I blinked wrong. Inside was a letter. 3 pages. Written in blue ink. No return address. She started with the weather. I hope you're staying warm. I remember how much you hated cold mornings. Then came the timeline of her grief, her words, not mine. I've done a lot of thinking. I've changed. I've grown. I'm sorry for how I made you feel. Feel. Not what she did. Not what she chose. Just how I felt about it. She mentioned Dean in passing. Said they were working through things. Said she told him he needed to make room for me and that he agreed now. Said she missed me. She asked if I'd consider calling. No pressure, she wrote. Just, let me hear your voice. I folded the letter and slid it under my mattress. Then I walked to the kitchen, poured a glass of water, and stared out the window for a long time. That night, I didn't sleep. My brain played it like a song I couldn't skip. Every line. Every pause. Every part of me that still craved the apology she hadn't written. Lena found me in the hallway around 2 a.m. Letter, she asked. I nodded. Want to read it out loud? No, I said. I already memorized it. We sat on the stairs like kids at a sleepover. She didn't push. Just sat with me until the air didn't feel so heavy. In the morning, I put the letter in a shoebox at the back of my closet. Not to forget. Just to contain. I didn't write back. Because healing isn't about meeting someone halfway. Not when they left you at the beginning and asked you to catch up. It's about drawing a line. Not out of anger but out of clarity. And sometimes not answering is the loudest boundary you'll ever set. The day I threw away the letter, I didn't cry, I just made waffles and opened the window. It was a Wednesday. The kind of ordinary morning that feels like a second chance if you let it. I opened the closet, pulled out the shoebox, and took the letter out. I didn't reread it. I didn't need to. The words had lived inside me long enough. I stood over the kitchen trash can and dropped it in. No drama. No speech. Just paper meeting plastic. Lena watched me from the stove. Waffles, she asked. Yeah, I said. Extra cinnamon. We ate with the window open. The air was sharp but fresh, and the sun hit the table like it knew I needed light. After breakfast, I walked to school alone for the first time in months. I didn't listen to music. Didn't scroll. I just walked. Step by step, like I was reclaiming every inch of pavement I used to avoid. In English class, we were assigned personal essays. Write about a moment that changed you, the teacher said. My pen didn't even hesitate. I wrote about the bus station. About the bench. About how a vending machine hummed louder than the woman who birthed me. I wrote about silence and survival and the choice to stop waiting for someone to come back. When I finished, I didn't feel sad. I felt clean. Like telling the story didn't reopen the wound. It just proved I survived it. That weekend, I went through my closet. Donated clothes I hadn't worn in a year. Tossed old notebooks. Moved the shoebox to the curb, still sealed. It was gone by morning. And for the first time, I didn't flinch when the mail came. Healing didn't make me whole, it just made me brave enough to stop hiding the cracks. It was the spring showcase. Parents filled the auditorium, sipping burnt coffee out of paper cups and flipping through printed programs. My name was on page 3, under Narrative Nonfiction, Student Voices. The hallway was buzzing with nerves and cheap perfume. I stood by the bathroom mirror fixing my hair for the 3rd time. Not because I cared how I looked, but because this was the first time I'd be seen, really seen, and I needed something to do with my hands. My dad waited in the front row, holding Lena's hand. They looked proud. Not the loud, clapping kind. The quiet, steady kind. The kind I could lean against. When they called my name, my throat went dry. But my legs moved anyway. Across the stage. Behind the mic. And then I told it. The bus station. The goodbye that wasn't said. The voicemail. The vending machine. The silence. I didn't cry. I didn't tremble. I let the pauses speak louder than the pain. I let the words land. When I finished, the auditorium was still. And then they clapped. But more than that, they listened. Afterwards, a woman stopped me in the hallway. She had gray hair and kind eyes. My daughter went through something like that, she said. But she never found the words. I nodded. Because I didn't find the words either. I built them. Brick by brick. Hurt by hurt. That night, I lay in bed with the window open again. The air felt different. Not cleaner. Not softer. Just honest. I didn't feel fixed. Or fearless. But I felt real. And sometimes real is the bravest thing you can be. I thought the story ended in court, but it ended on a Tuesday afternoon with a stranger's kindness and a second chance. It happened months later when I least expected it, like most things that matter. I was walking home from school, same path I always took. The light was changing, that golden hour glow stretching shadows long across the sidewalk. I stopped by the little bookstore on Jefferson, the one with mismatched chairs and a staff who remembered your name if you came in twice. Inside, tucked between new releases and dusty poetry, was a flyer. Youth Writing Fellowship. Summer program. Mentors. Publication. I took a picture. Didn't let myself hope, not really. But I showed Lena that night. She read it twice. Then looked at me like I had just handed her a map out of a storm. You're applying, she said. I don't think I'm good enough. Then apply anyway. So I did. I sent in my essay. The one from the showcase. Added a note that just said, this is all I have, but it's true. Weeks passed. I didn't check my email for a while. Didn't want to need it too much. Then one Tuesday I got the reply. Accepted. Full scholarship. They said my story mattered. That it was raw, honest, urgent. That my voice didn't just deserve space, it created space. I walked into the living room in a daze. Lena stood from the couch and my dad turned down the TV. They said yes, I whispered. And they held me like they'd known it all along. Later that night, I wrote something new. Not about her. About me. About how strength isn't loud or perfect or pretty. Sometimes it's a girl who got left behind, sitting with her pain until it turned into a purpose. I used to think the bus station was the end of the story. But maybe it was the beginning. The real kind. The kind you write yourself.